Cloud from Texas.
Oh, the great state of Texas, as we like to say. But thank you for being here. Thank you, Chairman, for holding this committee. There's a lot of consternation today about President Trump deploying the National Guard to help crack down on crime. I can remember it wasn't that long ago where the Biden administration had deployed the National Guard to block access to the people's capital. I would much more be in favor of helping solve the crime situation here in D.C. There didn't seem to be a lot of consternation coming from the left during COVID when our capital was surrounded by barbed wire and the National Guard were camped out. Over the last 3 weeks, it's pretty undeniable. I mean, I remember what D.C. looked like, and it was just a couple months ago when Trump was elected. You can go by Union Station. There were homeless camps camped out. We had 2 staff members who had to deal with situations at gunpoint where they were accosted at gunpoint. We had another staff member who had to move out of their apartment after being threatened. I was took a train into Union Station and missed being present for someone getting shot. My chief of staff at the time was sitting out front and saw it happen. Missed it by 3 minutes myself. You know, and you look at the stats of what's happened, and it's important to, there's a lot of comparing today apples to oranges and trying to, you put up charts and the numbers don't. But if you compare the 3 weeks this time to the 3 weeks last time, it's dramatic. 38% decrease in homicides, 44% decrease in sex abuse. I mean, this is extraordinary. If those trends were to continue, that's 50 people walking around the city alive, 50 families that haven't been broken up over the course of a year. That's extraordinary. Chairman Mendelson, can you not agree that D.C. is a safer place than it was 5 weeks ago?
There's no question, but that if you look at the data, the crime statistics, that there was a reduction in crime during the surge.
Yeah, okay.
But as we have said, if you want to add 500 officers working with our MPD, of course we're going to see a reduction in violence. That's not the same as ICE raids, masked men.
Important.
It's not the same as the National Guard who's landscaping on the mall.
Do I need to go back to my National Guard point? You didn't have a problem when the National Guard was blocking access to the nation's capital, prohibiting people from coming here. And to that point, D.C. is different than other cities. D.C. is unique. Our founders, there was mention of the Boston Tea Party, the ones who were actually there, wrote the Constitution and said that D.C. should not be a state because it houses the federal government. And it would be important for a state not to give undue influence over the federal government. We saw this during COVID. Excuse me, I'm talking.
They say nothing about denying us the franchise.
Sir. In September 20th, Capitol Hill Baptist Church was denied a permit to worship outside because of COVID-19, yet we had a number of Black Lives Matter protests in this community. The concern I have is when Washington, D.C., access to the nation's capital is prohibited or curtailed in any way. Could you explain to me, Mayor, why the church was not able to have a worship service outside, but yet the Black Lives protests were enabled to go on?
You're talking about the public health emergency?
I'm talking about during COVID, Black Lives Matter protests continue to happen in Washington, D.C. With no retribution from the city, yet churches were not allowed to worship or worship outside even.
Yes, I think that matter was litigated and it's resolved.
Well, yes, COVID's over, but the point is that you have a city basically defining who has access to the nation's capital. And there were times where there were going to be a Trump rally and somehow restaurants got closed down that weekend and those sorts of things. Why was this church not allowed to worship outside, yet Black Lives Matter protests were encouraged by the city?
My recollection is
I mean, you went as far as to paint Black Lives Matters across the street.
I want to answer your question. My recollection, and while I don't remember the specifics of that case, is that it fell under our large gathering prohibition in the early stages of COVID.
But Black Lives Matters were okay? Were they not large enough? They weren't violent enough?
You were probably referring
too
to
violent, maybe?
outdoor First Amendment gatherings that were not.
Worship service falls under the First Amendment.
And as I mentioned,
I only have a couple of minutes left, and so I'll just point out that the $1
litigated.
billion you're asking for is in the CR that's on the House floor this week. And everyone over there, I would encourage you to encourage the people up here to vote for that, because if you want your dollars, they can help us
And
provide it for you.
Congressman, might I just
My
add,
time
and
is
I hope that that is the case, that the FY25 fix is attached to the CR. We worked very hard with the administration and with you, Mr. Comer, to make sure that the anomaly was included moving forward in '26. But the House, following Senator Collins' bill in the Senate, can still fix the FY25 CR problem that was $1.1 billion. And it's not too late, and it will help us balance.
The CR extends funding that our folks here have already voted for. It also adds security
Good, thank you.
features, and then adds that for DC. So
Got it,
I
thank you.
expect unanimous support over there, right? Okay.